Right, good morning. We are all packed up. It is 7:30 and we're leaving Las Vegas. We've still got about $100 in resort credit. I went down and did a bit of a shop yesterday. I can't remember if I vlogged it because I was very drunk. And we bought Reese's peanut butter cups. We bought Swedish fish. We bought some Sour Patch Kids and some other crap. Anyway, we're gonna go down to Starbucks and get a few bits and bobs and drop the stuff off to the car and then check out. So I'll vlog a little bit of the journey and then I'll vlog the LA business class lounge and we'll do our final wrap up and goodbye from there. Alright guys, we are all loaded up in the car. I'm on my way to Starbucks to use the last of the beverage credit and check out. We just said goodbye to Lorraine. Austin's snoring his head off apparently. There's a massive queue for Starbucks, shock horror. Alright, we'll catch up with you in a bit. Alright, we are on our way back to LAX.
I'm so depressed.
I know, it's saying 4 hours and 43 minutes. It's depressing when you leave a holiday at any time, especially Vegas. But then when you've got a 16-hour flight to look forward to as well, it is super depressing. We had a little bit of a disaster on the way to the car. Google's still with the timing. So we were walking up to the escalators and at the bottom of it. In the bottom of the escalators, the bag that had all the food, all the drink, it was a paper bag, obviously it had got wet, and all the food, all the drink, glass bottles, everything fell out the bottom, all over the floor. So yeah, that wasn't a great start. We grabbed some food and drinks from Starbucks. We got a nice little Las Vegas, we had like $80 credit left. So we got a Las Vegas special edition Starbucks takeaway cup. Yeah, so we got some bits and bobs. We had about $70, $80 left on food and beverage. So yeah, we spent $75 in Starbucks. That's gotta be a first. And interestingly, they had the price tags on the takeaway cups, and it said for US that the price should be $19.95, and they blacked it out and stuck a new price tag on it, which was $34.95. $35 for a plastic cup. I mean, obviously I would never normally buy that, but it was free. We weren't going to spend $80 on coffees and sandwiches. So yeah, nice little Las Vegas edition takeaway cup to take back with us. And interestingly, Emily went to check out when I was at Starbucks, and the lady said there's nothing to pay, which is strange because food and beverage credit doesn't include tip and it doesn't include tax. And obviously, you know, there's probably $100, $150 worth of tips. No, more than that actually, including tips and tax.
No, because I paid some in cash, to be honest.
Yeah, so there was nothing to pay. No tips, no tax. So I just wonder if they're basically comping absolutely everything that's on the bill. We probably could have charged more. But anyway, yeah, 4 hours and 44 minutes it's showing to get to LAX.
Oh.
So I'll pick it up either en route or when we get to the airport. Alright, first stop of the journey is Terrible's. We've got half a tank of petrol, so shut up, girl.
We don't want to go to the correctional centre either.
No, I'll drop you off there. So yes, we are pulling into Terrible's to fill up with some petrol, and then we'll get back on the road. If you haven't been to this place before, it's definitely worth a stop. I'm not sure if it's the world's largest petrol station, but it's bloody huge. There's like, how many is there, 100 plus or 90 something?
Head southwest toward Nevada 161 East.
100 pumps or something like that. Oh, they're all out of order, typical, of course they are.
Carrier number 7.
Yeah, lucky number 7. I don't need to clean the windows for her first. Right, back in a bit. Alright, we are pulling into Eddie's World for a pit stop. Quick use of the restrooms and stretch our legs. We're basically halfway. This is just outside Barstow. So I'll pick it up once we get inside. That was a difficult drive. I am rough as a dog's arse this morning, and this drive is going so slow. Both me and Emily feeling awful. Never drink heavily the day before you've got a 4-hour drive and a 16-hour flight. Ugh.
Well, I did tell you.
Alright, so if you've not been in here before, it's obviously a full service station. Jerky, Pete's coffee, fresh food, candies, popcorn, all sorts of stuff. We're going to nip to the bathroom first and then I'll come back afterwards. Alright, yeah, we don't actually need to buy anything. But I'll show you quickly around. We've got the different selection of hot sauces, loads of different drinks. We've got the LA Lakers area at the back here. Part of the original flooring from the LA Lakers court. Toys for kids. Loads and loads and loads of sweets. Emily, you getting some taffy? Emily's obsessed with taffy now. Oh look, taffy, here it is.
I want the pina colada.
Well, they might not do pina colada here, Emily. It's not Atlantic City. It's Eddie's World taffy, it's not. Yeah, loads of different sweets. And they do fresh sandwiches, gourmet food, pizzas, hot dogs, you name it, burgers. Loads of jerky, loads of toys. So we're just coming here, like I said, just use the bathroom and stretch our legs. And then we're going to get back in the car and do the remaining 2.5 hours. Me and Emily are absolutely depressed. We both feel like utter garbage. Yeah. There's rumours, well, on our flight over, there was rumours that Emirates might start a flight direct to Vegas. That would be amazing, because I am sick and tired of doing this drive to LA. I don't know how Californians do it it's just so boring. I don't mind driving, like, I enjoy driving. But I don't know if it's because, you know, you're leaving Las Vegas. Like, even on the way, it's not too bad because you're going there, so you've got something to look forward to. But yeah, going back, here's a trusty old Volvo, served us well, murdered millions of flies, back on the road we go. Alright. You might be able to tell from the fact that there's traffic. We're near Los Angeles. Since we stopped, actually, the journey hasn't been too bad. Just need to fill up with petrol near the airport and then drop the car back off at Hertz, get the bus to the terminal. So yeah, I'll pick it up when we get to the airport. Alright, we made it back to Hertz, car's all checked in, all the luggage is out. Emily's nipped to the bathroom, and then we're gonna jump on the bus and head back to the terminal. Alright, we are all checked in and on our way to the lounge. Well, first off, we've got the fun of going through security and TSA. Don't you just love them? Alright, so we made it into the lounge. You might not think it from the view, but there is an outdoor balcony area overlooking the terminal. So I'll take you in, show you some of the food and beverage options that they've got.
Try my thing, but you're sorry, just won't do. Taking my already said 100 million times to you before. I'm doing alright without you, baby. I hope she don't know just that I okay. Took your number off my phone. I'm doing better on my own. 생각조차 안 나죠 어떤 말도. Without you, baby, oh I feel brand new. Took your number off my phone. I'm doing better on my own. I'm doing better, doing better, doing better on my own. I'm doing better, doing better, doing better on my own. I kinda wish I'd never met you.
Alright, so actually quite a poor selection of food in the lounge when compared to the New York branch. It's yeah, it's not great, but it'll do. There's also showers, obviously bathrooms, and a few other amenities, but I don't need to show you that. So we're going to grab some food, and then I'll do the recap from yesterday and the final roundup. Right, so I've gone for the North Coast Brewing Company, Belgian style golden ale. Very, very nice. Very tasty. What's the alcoholic percentage? 7.6%. Wow, strong. Alright, so predictably Emily went for the creamy asparagus soup. I've gone for the salmon Caesar salad, the watermelon and feta starter, and the parmesan and truffle crisps. Alright, just finished some food. Had the starters of the nice spicy lamb stew, and some chicken and a few other bits and bobs. So I thought I would do a quick recap firstly of last night, yesterday's gambling and last night. So we started off with a casual morning, relaxing in the hotel room, getting everything ready obviously for the journey back. We met up with Austin and Lorraine and we went to the Arts District, to Esther's Kitchen. Really, really good food. Service wasn't great. We had to wait about 20 minutes for someone to come over and offer us water or take our order. But the food was absolutely fantastic. The braised beef cheek sandwich with roasted onion marmalade, cheese, I think rocket as well, was absolutely gorgeous. Then we had a pizza, we had pasta as well, which was really nice, and obviously they're famous for their sourdough bread. So we had sourdough bread with burrata and Duja sausage and a basil ricotta dip, which was really, really nice. So after we did that, we headed down to Fremont Street in downtown, mainly just to show Austin and Lorraine. Obviously it started to rain quite heavy, so we kind of cut the trip short. I ran into El Cortez and did some free play, and yeah, I got $10 free play, turned that into $45, so that was good. Then we made our way back to the Strip. We were going to go to Mandalay Bay and Luxor, but because of the weather we decided not to. So we went to Park MGM, did some gambling in Park MGM, didn't hit much, and then moved on to Cosmo where we spent the night. Nothing major. The first $100 lasted me for about 3-4 hours, and then we started upping the bets and it pretty much vanished. We put 200 in on Dragon Link, I think. Golden Century, doing $5 bets, and yeah, we didn't hit anything. So we called it a night about midnight-ish. It was about 11:30, I think. Headed back to the hotel. Obviously remembered we had a lot of dining credit, so went and got a few bits and bobs from the shop, some Reese's peanut butter cups, Swedish fish, and what else did I get?
Coffees for the morning.
Coffees for the morning, a few other bits and bobs, anyway, not important. And so yeah, we came back with, how much did you come back with, Emily?
I was down 400 basically.
So Emily was down 400, I came back with $200. So for the trip, in total, I've come back with 3,600, and I think Emily's come back with 3,300.
Yeah.
And Emily's come back with 3,300. Out of our original 4,000 budget is really, really good. I'm very, very happy with that. That's 90% return. Coming back with 90% of the money.
We paid stuff with cash.
And to be honest, we paid loads of stuff on our winnings, obviously for the tips. We paid a little bit out for meals here and there. So to be honest, we probably came back with the $4,000 that we budgeted for gambling, which for 10 days in Vegas is exceptional, in my opinion. I know some people go with $4,000 and come back with 7 or 8, but for us, 10 days entertainment has cost us $400, $40 a day. It's a bloody bargain, if you ask me. So yeah, that was very enjoyable. We really enjoyed Vegas. I think I am done though. I look and feel like crap now. I'm not looking forward to the flight. I think Vegas has done me a lot of drinking throughout the trip, to be honest. Even in the national parks, we were having a few drinks in the evening because we were that exhausted that we wanted time to wind down and had a few drinks in the evening. So yeah, all in all, a fantastic trip. All right, so as you might be able to tell, we are not in the airport in LA. So we originally filmed the recap in the lounge, as you saw briefly earlier. And then when we got back to Dubai, we started to experience things with MGM. So we made the decision to scrap the recap that we've done in the lounge and re-record it here in Dubai, so we can give you a full kind of overview of what happened when we got back after our stay. Now, it's currently Boxing Day morning. It is just gone 9 a.m. I'm supposed to be doing this with Emily, but unfortunately yesterday on Christmas morning she woke up not feeling too good with a bit of a cough and a cold, and today she's absolutely unable to get out of bed. So as this is coming out New Year's Eve, there's no really other time for us to do it, so it's just going to be me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a very quick recap. We had a few questions that had been sent over from some of our viewers. We'll do a quick recap on the holiday, and then I've already pre-recorded the win-loss statements for MGM and Cosmo, and then I'll do a full financial breakdown. So yeah, a recap of the trip. It was an interesting trip. It was very, very enjoyable still, but obviously because of what happened with the hack, it did have an impact on the stay. I wouldn't say it ruined the trip because we still made the most of it. We still had an amazing time in Vegas. We had an amazing time outside of Vegas as well. And we really enjoyed our time with Austin and Rain. But obviously waking up in the morning, you just didn't know what the situation was going to be. We had to go to the MGM rewards desk 10-15 times. We weren't able to get some of our free players, we've said over the vlogs. So it was more frustrating, and it kept kind of impeding on our plans, which for someone like me who's OCD and likes everything to be organized and planned, wasn't great. But overall, it was still a good trip. I would say it's probably, in general, looking at Vegas and the full 18-day trip, it's probably the second best trip we've ever done to the US, and we've been coming to the US for a long time. The only trip that beats it was our 4-week trip around the South, where we did Nashville, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Memphis, Tennessee. We did all over the place, which was absolutely amazing. But yeah, in terms of overall trip, this was probably the second best one that we've done. You'll have to excuse me if you see me like this. Unfortunately, coming into January, it is now mozzie season in Dubai, and I am being absolutely pestered. I've just had to spray and cover myself in mozzie repellent. So yeah, it was a good trip. I'll go through some of the questions that the viewers had sent us. More of them, to be honest, I've covered some of the questions in the win-loss statements because a lot of people are asking what was our final statement like, how much did we spend on X and Y, and obviously I'll come on to that in a minute in full detail. But a few questions that had been sent over about the food. Someone had asked us what was our most disappointing meal. This came from James. For me, this was Primrose and Galpo Gaucho. Primrose gets a lot of respect from a lot of people. Don't know if it was an off day. Obviously the situation with a hack and asking for pictures of the credit card didn't help, but just found the food really bland and boring. Overcooked pizza. Yeah, just disappointing. Service wasn't great. Really wasn't impressed with it. And Galpo Gaucho, really underwhelming considering the cost. I think you're talking about $75 if memory serves me correct. for a Brazilian steakhouse. I've been to a lot of Brazilian steakhouses, Texas to Brazil, here, all over the world, 2 or 3 times in the US, in Florida and stuff, and this one just really underwhelming. The salad bar was absolutely amazing, but the meats lacked flavor. They weren't that tender. Yeah, I mean, that was a 5 or 6 out of 10 for me, so that was a really disappointing meal. And then for Emily, I know she was really disappointed with Bardo Brasserie. She's not a huge fan of French food to start with, so that wasn't great, and she was underwhelmed with Bellagio Buffet, and I have to agree with her. Selection was good, but everything was just cold or lukewarm. Now, using my Vegas 2 for 1, it's not bad, but if you were paying full price for that, I really wouldn't have been happy. Our most surprising meal, actually we've put 2 places down. One might not surprise some viewers, which is La La Noodle. It was the first time we'd been there. We really enjoyed it. I know Emily called it a Posh Panda Express, but it was really nice. And the second one, and funnily enough, this is the only place we're gonna go back to. So on our next trip, and I'll do a trip announcement soon, our next trip, we're trying completely new places, and the only place that we put down to go back to is Salulitas. Now, Salulitas is a Mexican Filipino burrito place. It's literally bang opposite Mandalay Bay. You can walk out of Mandalay Bay, cross the road, and you're there. It's only very small, but in terms of breakfast burritos and what they did, the tacos and all that stuff, it was absolutely amazing. So really would recommend that place. And then finally, our best meals, our 2 best meals, and me and Emily both agreed on this. The first one was Din Tai Fung. As I mentioned in the vlog, we've got a Din Tai Fung here in Dubai. It's very underwhelming, wasn't great. Obviously, they don't do pork in the Dubai one, but yeah, it just wasn't that good. The one, I have to say, the one we went to in Vegas, in Aria, was absolutely amazing. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and we were going to go back there again this trip, but we said no, let's try somewhere new for our next trip. And the second one was Esther's Kitchen in the Arts District, which was just on our last vlog. Really good. Probably the best sandwich, and I've had a lot of sandwiches, I've had a lot of melts, but that beef cheek melt sandwich was absolutely to die for. And the breads and the dips that they did, the pastas, our friends had pizza, and the pizza was really nice as well. You know, if you're looking for somewhere off the strip and you want to go somewhere, get down to the Arts District, get down to Esther's Kitchen, you won't regret it. And so that comes on to our best dishes, and I've kind of just mentioned it. For me, it was obviously the beef cheek sandwich, and for Emily, it was the sweet and sour ribs at Din Tai Fung. So yeah, they were some really good food. We actually had a lot of really good food. In general, I think Vegas is probably one of the best places in the world for food. You've got all the top restaurants there. So yeah, we've got some really exciting restaurants planned for our next trip as well, which we're looking forward to. So, right, let me get back onto, because I got distracted there by the questions and food, shock horror. Let me get back to what happened when we returned. So obviously, you saw in the vlog, we had a lot of issues with the hack. So when we came back, the first thing that we noticed was our points. So we got back, and I think I ended up on something like 19,960 points or something. So I was literally like 30-40 points away from reaching Pearl status, which I thought was strange because we did gamble quite a lot, even in the first 1 or 2 days before the hack started, and at the end when apparently they were tracking the points, we did a lot of gambling. So I was really surprised that we didn't reach Pearl, considering we gambled completely on my MGM card. So that was the first kind of thing that we thought was strange when they updated the points. And then what happened was we started to get charges coming through from Park MGM. There was a $50 charge here, and there was a $36 charge, and there was another $75 charge and $100, and $200 to $300 of charges started appearing on my credit card statement. Now, I reached out to Park MGM and Nomad, and I sent an email and said, look, these charges have come through, can you explain what they are? And they sent an email back and said, oh, well, this charge is from Primrose and this charge is for this place. And I went back through the numbers and thought, well, that doesn't make sense. And so, for example, Primrose, I checked, and Primrose I paid on my credit card. It wasn't a room charge. So I emailed them back and said, look, these charges are nonsense. Like, the explanation you've given makes 0 sense. Here is the receipt from Primrose, which I paid on my credit card. So why would it be on the room bill? Plus, the bill from Primrose did not match up with what she said it was for. So I said, look guys, you need to come back to me with an actual breakdown. You've not provided us a bill. You said on checkout there was nothing to pay, and now all of a sudden 4 or 5
charges are coming through. Now, I didn't know at that point if it was going to continue and over the next few days I was going to get more charges. So I said, look, you need to come back to me with an explanation, or otherwise I'm going to have to contact the bank and get the card blocked and get them to hold your transactions. So they came back to me and they just said, oh, we'll look into it. And yeah, 3-4 months later, I heard absolutely nothing. I've sent multiple emails. I've tried to call. They haven't given me any explanations. They've not done anything. So not great. But what I will say is, obviously, your food and beverage credit doesn't include tips and taxes. Our tips and taxes are probably more than what they've charged. So in my book, I've just said, you know what, if they can't explain it, that's fine. It's probably a similar amount to what we would have paid in tips and taxes, so we'll just leave it as it is. And then a few days later, well, I say a few days now, this has been a few weeks later, they updated the MGM tier points, and all of a sudden I jumped up to about 26,900, and Emily jumped up to about a similar amount, 27,000 points. We tried to work out how they'd calculated that, but we couldn't quite do it. So we think they just randomly added on numbers, and me and Emily basically ended up with the same amount, even though the majority of the gambling was done on mine and all the credit card payments were done on my card. So that has taken us to Pearl, which is good, before the end of the year. So it means that when we go back now in 2024, we'll be Pearl, so we get some benefits of free parking, etc., etc. But yeah, I mean, we've reached out to MGM multiple times and we just haven't had anything. So I kind of said to Emily, let's forget it. Let's just crack on with planning the next trip. And when we get there, we'll speak to someone at reception and see if they can update us, see if they can provide us any more information. So yeah, that is a very, very quick recap. Like I said, it would have been nice to have Emily here and had a bit of banter and a bit of back and forth, but it's just me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip across and show you the MGM and Cosmo win-loss statements, and then a full financial breakdown, and then I'll pick it back up with you in a few minutes.
All right, so I'm going to show you in this section of the recap the win-loss statements. Now, I'm going to do two different statements. I'm going to do specifically for this trip in September, and then I'm also going to do the win-loss statement for the full year. Now, the full year will cover our February trip, our September trip in Vegas, as well as my Atlantic City trip that I did in August and stayed at the MGM properties. So, as you can see on the screen now, our September statistics are up, and you can see here the coin out, the jackpots, and obviously the coin in, estimated slot win-loss, estimated tables, which is 0 because we haven't done any gambling on the tables, and obviously the total estimated win-loss statement. So, for our September trip, and this is obviously only on MGM, we did do obviously gambling at Caesars. We obviously had a lot of issues with the hack. So a lot of what we've done, we don't think has been recorded because we believe we gambled significantly more. And I will do a win-loss statement for Cosmo because obviously we did do a lot of gambling in Cosmo. So I'll do that shortly. But as you can see here, the different casinos, Aria, Bellagio, Excalibur, New York, and Park MGM. Majority of the gambling was done at Park MGM. So we didn't do a huge amount in Excalibur, and we pretty much lost everything in there. We had losses in Excalibur and New York, and Park MGM. We had wins where we came out positive in Bellagio with $266 and Aria with $204. So our total win-loss for this trip was $5,223 out. We put in $5,183, which means we had a positive win of $40, which is pretty good if you ask me. I'm very happy with that. Whenever you come back with what you started with, I think that's a bonus. So yeah, for this trip for MGM, we came up $40 up. So we've had all of our obviously hotel free of charge. We've had a few $100s in food and beverage credit, and we've come away with a positive outcome from MGM. So now we will move on to the annual win-loss statement.
All right, so our annual win-loss statement, as I said before, this covers our 2 trips in Vegas and 1 trip in Atlantic City. And this is where it gets quite interesting. So, if you look, this covers Aria, Bellagio, Borgata, Excalibur, Luxor, MGM Grand, Mandalay Bay, New York, and Park MGM. Now, on this trip, we didn't do any gambling on our last trip in September. We didn't do any gambling in Luxor or Mandalay Bay, but we obviously did on our February trip. Now, I'm going to focus just initially on Borgata. So I went to Borgata in August. I did vlog. That was actually the first vlog I ever did. It was a bit of a training vlog, so go back and watch that if you want to. I had to go to New York on business, so I did a couple of days in Atlantic City. And yeah, interestingly, I put in $4,400 and my coin out was $3,300, which was a loss of $1,118. Now, if you look at the overall gambling from the whole of 2023, which is 2 Vegas trips and Atlantic City, my total losses were only $1,154. And the reason that is interesting is because if you subtract what I lost in Atlantic City from my overall totals, you're talking about less than a $40 loss, which just goes to show what me and Emily have always said. We have always said whenever we've gambled outside of Vegas, it's been poor. If you look at all of the gambling that we've done, you know, we're talking about close to $14,000 in MGM. The only major losses that I had was in Atlantic City. I think the exact number is $36. So from 2 trips in Vegas, and we're talking about 2 10-day trips, that's 20 days in Vegas, I have only lost $36 at MGM properties, which is quite incredible. I know it's not always that. I know a lot of people lose a lot more we've lost on previous trips, but this year has been really, really good. So taking a look at the overall totals, I mean, Aria, we were $222 up, which is about 20% on what we put in. Bellagio, never usually win at Bellagio in previous experience. We had a couple of good wins in our September trip, so we were $143 up. Borgata, as I mentioned, was a complete and utter bust. Excalibur, we didn't do very well in September, but obviously we did well in our February trip, so we were only $1 down. Luxor, that's strange, 0. Maybe that was a ticket in and a ticket straight out. But we did do some gambling. So that's a bit of an anomaly. Anyway, MGM Grand, again, $55.06 out, 96 cents. That's a $41 loss. Mandalay Bay, we put $1,600 in, $112 loss. New York, a $6 win. And then Park MGM, obviously we were staying there, so we did the majority of our gambling there. $4,500 in, $4,250 out, so only a $250 loss. So our total coin in for MGM this year is just under 14,000, which I think is very, very low. I think a lot of it hasn't been tracked, so not sure about how that would affect, obviously, our win-loss statement, but we can only go off what we've been given by MGM. So, yeah, $14,000 in, $12,744 out. That's a $1,154 loss. All right, so we'll take a quick look at our Cosmo win-loss statement. And I'm actually really, really surprised by this. I think we sunk way more money into Cosmo. That being said, this is only my win-loss statement. Obviously, Emily, in February, we gambled separately. So I did my gambling, she did her gambling on her card. And obviously she did quite a lot of gambling, even in September, off on her own. But I'm really surprised that our coin in is only $8,300, or my coin in. I would have thought it would be much higher than that. And generally speaking, I always feel like we've done very well in Cosmo. Whenever I leave Cosmo, I don't feel like I'm leaving a loser. But in actual fact, coin in was $8,300, coin out was $7,382. So $919 loss. But you know what? Again, we did a majority of our gambling in Cosmo this trip. We did a lot in February. We absolutely love Cosmo. It's our favorite casino to gamble in. We've never stayed there. We were hoping we might be able to do it on our next trip, depending on the merger with MGM and how that works with the rewards. But $919 loss over, like I said, 20 days worth of gambling in Vegas last year. I'll take that. We absolutely love Cosmo, as I said, good cocktails. I hope MGM don't ruin it. So yeah, $919 for 20 days of fun and enjoyment in Cosmo. I will take that all day long. Okay, and so our final breakdown is a breakdown of our total costs for the trip that we've just finished now in September. Well, I say now, we're actually filming this at the end of December. But yeah, I'll, full disclosure on everything that we spend and how much the trips cost us. Obviously, coming from Dubai and flying Emirates, the majority of the cost is on our flights. So here is the breakdown for our September vacation. We've done it in dollars and in pounds. So as you can see, our flights, $6,200. That is a big chunk of our total holiday cost. We always fly business class to Vegas or whenever we do any of our US trips, not always with Emirates. We will usually scout around. Sometimes we do connect with, Turkish Airlines through Istanbul or with Swifts or Lufthansa. Our previous trip, actually, we've done BA and Virgin. So it just varies. But for this trip, we spent $6,200 on premium economy flights because Emirates have just started doing premium economy flights to LA. And then what we do is we use our Skywards miles to upgrade to business because the cost of flying business to LA is about $13,000 to $14,000 per person. And I just cannot justify spending $25,000 on flights twice a year. Twice a year. That's $50,000 on flights alone. I just will not do it. So yeah, the flight cost is obviously the biggest part of our spend. Our car hire was $681, which I think is an absolute bargain. We got a Volvo XC90 from Hertz for 18 days. So for $681, that is absolutely brilliant. Our hotels cost $1,679, and I should say that this breakdown is for the whole trip, so it's not just obviously for Vegas, it is for the full 18-day trip and the national parks. All of our Vegas hotels were obviously comped apart from the one night that we had in the Win. Gas or petrol, we spent $575. Food and beverage, we spent $1,926. Obviously, we did get quite a lot of free food and beverage credit as well from MGM, and this is only what I've spent. Emily has bought little bits and bobs, but I haven't included that in the majority of this list. Concerts, we did 2 concerts. We saw Luke Bryan and Cole Swindell, so we spent $592 on tickets to those 2 country concerts. Shopping and supermarkets, didn't really do any shopping, so most of this is the supermarkets, which is $482, which is our waters, beer and wine for the whole trip. Other costs for transport and taxi was just the taxis into downtown Fremont Street, $45. We spent approximately, this is a little bit harder to track, but we spent approximately $675 on tips, and that is just tips in the Vegas casinos. That is not tips for the overall holiday. And then we had some miscellaneous costs of $382. And then we had random costs, as I already mentioned, from MGM, which to be honest, we never got to the bottom of. $231. We are assuming it's the tips and tax, but that still doesn't make sense to us. So our total charges were $13,500 or £10,821 for our total trip. Which obviously we think is a bargain. We know that we had a lot of free play, F&B, and the comp rooms, which I'll come on to. So the free play, we got $400. We obviously didn't get all of it because of the hack. The food and beverage, we got $700. And then the cost of the rooms that we actually stayed in had a cost of $3,645. So we effectively got free of charge a value of $4,745. Our gambling budget was $8,000. That is $4,000 each, which equates to 10 days, $400 a day. Our return for both me and Emily was $7,012, which means we made a loss of $988, which again, I am completely happy with that. Coming back with anything, I think, is a bonus from Vegas. So the grand total, if I add on the actual charges plus the losses that we made from gambling, our total trip for 2 people is under $15,000, $14,514. Considering what we have done in those 18 days, the miles that we've driven, the sights that we've seen, the laughs that we've had with our friends, with Emily, yeah, I think that's an absolute bargain. I'm not going to say a bargain. Look, it's a lot of money, and obviously it's relative to each individual person. But for us, you know, 2 weeks of the year, we do 2 to 3 trips to Vegas. I'm quite happy to be spending $15,000 on a holiday. If obviously we had lost the full $8,000, it would have been a little bit different. You know, we'd have been at 22, 23,000 for the trip. But even so, we make memories, we work hard, and yeah, we like to come to the US and Vegas and enjoy ourselves. So that's a little breakdown of the total costs for the trip, and we will do this on each and every single trip we make.
All right, so I hope you found that useful. You know, we ummed and ahed about whether to go through the financials or not. We did put a poll out there, and it was about 98% of people said that we should do it. We always find it interesting when we're watching vlogs, when they put the financials up and how much they spent and how much they came back with. So we wanted to do it, complete transparency. Obviously, it is a lot of money, but, you know, we are in Dubai. We're 16 hours away. So, you know, a big chunk of what our kind of cost and our spend is on flights. But again, you know, typically most people who go to Vegas do 4 or 5 days or a week. You know, we're doing 14 to 21 day trips. So obviously our total cost is going to be a lot more. But yeah, you know, we can't really do I'd love to be able to do a 5-week trip to Vegas, but it's just not possible when you're 16-hour flight away. So yeah, that basically brings our first ever proper Vegas vlog series to an end. I just want to say, you know, me and Emily got into filming and doing these vlogs mainly because we wanted to give our families and our friends an opportunity to see what we do. Obviously, you know, especially this time of year, you know, her family are in Thailand celebrating Christmas. My family's back in the UK celebrating Christmas. We don't get to see each other that often. It's typically once or twice a year, and there obviously is kind of a disconnection between us all. We try and keep in contact as much as possible, but I know they're always interested to see what we're doing, what we're getting up to, and that's why we started these vlogs. Never expected to get, you know, over 500 subscribers on our first vlog. We've had some amazing interactions and messages from people. 99% of it is positive. There's always going to be some negativity, but hey ho, doesn't bother me. So yeah, I'd just like to say thank you to all of our subscribers, our followers, for everyone who's watched the vlogs, who's commented on it. We've really enjoyed doing the vlogs, actually, especially the editing from my side. Obviously I do all the filming and the editing. It's a nice kind of break from work and a nice way to relax. So we hope you've enjoyed the vlogs. Thank you so much for following along on our journey. As I said, we are just in the final process of booking our next trip. So this video will be coming out New Year's Eve. So hopefully the first week of January we'll be able to confirm the dates on what we've got scheduled for 2024. So happy New Year to everyone. I hope 2024 brings you health, wealth, lots of travel, lots of trips to Vegas, hopefully the odd hand pay or two. Emily's lucky number is 24, so hopefully next year is our year. Yeah, thank you for watching, and I suppose fittingly, all that's left for me to say is that's all she wrote.